Hi, my name is Sophia Miller. This is Exploring the Generational Thoughts. What is the biggest issue facing Gen Z today? I have Noah Campos here for the Gen Z position. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi, my name's Noah Campos. I'm 16 and I'm a junior at Dos Palos High School and I'm Gen Z.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to start off with a very basic question. What is the biggest issue, in your opinion, facing our own generation?
I feel like honestly the biggest problem would have to be social media
Okay. How often are you on your phone a day?
all the time.
Okay. So, because you think that that's the biggest issue, do you tend to try and stay away from social media because you know that's a big issue? Or do you feed into it and you participate willingly in it?
I don't essentially try to avoid it. I try to limit myself as much as possible, but at the same time it's addicting, it's fun, and it's funny to just scroll through social media sometimes, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, being a Gen Z myself, I do agree with that opinion because knowing myself, I can get onto TikTok and I'm supposed to be cleaning or doing my homework and I get distracted on there for hours, not being able to do anything. Do you find yourself having that same problem, and do you think that's a common issue with our generation?
I feel like it is due to the fact that most of my friends are always on some kind of social media, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. A lot of the time, I myself find myself trying to do homework or trying to clean my room. Then I sit down for 2 seconds to scroll through my phone, and all of a sudden, I completely forget what I'm doing.
Do you think that's why a lot of different generations feel like we are the least motivated and we do the least things because we're on those phones a lot, and they really don't understand how addicting it can be and how hard it is to get off of it once you're on it?
Realistically, I feel like that is the reason why they view us as such, but at the same time, it's just you have to have a sense of self-control when you're on social media. Like with me, I let myself just like have fun and just scroll through my phone sometimes. At the same time, I do other things. I just don't sit on my phone. Like I do sports sometimes. Sometimes I just go sit outside and like look around, you know? So I feel like one thing is that you could be addicted to your phone, but if you actually have a decent amount of self-control, you can actually get things done instead of just staying attached the whole time.
Okay, I like that answer. So, knowing yourself, knowing your schedule and how you are on your phone, do you think you could go a full day without your phone?
I probably could, considering the fact that I do a lot of things and some days I don't get home till late. But I feel like if I wasn't busy, I would probably not be able to.
So, could you go a week without it?
If I was really busy the week of, probably, but I don't think so.
Okay. Do you think that's mainly because social media has grasped on you, or because we rely solely on our phones to get in contact with people?
I don't really contact people that much unless either they reach out to me or I need something. So most of the time, whenever I'm on my phone, it's just for enjoyment or for fun.
Okay. So, if you were to go like a full day without your phone, what do you think would be the first thing you would check when you get back on that phone?
Probably, I don't know, Instagram. I don't really, because I said I don't really like message people like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I kind of just use my phone for entertainment. So I think the first thing I'll check would be see if maybe any of the people I follow posted anything.
Okay. So, what age did you get your phone?
14.
14. What age do you think is appropriate to give your future child a phone?
14.
14. Why do you think that is?
Because I'm not giving my kid a phone before I got a phone. That's going to be my one point. And honestly, I feel it would be the best to even not give them a phone until after high school or maybe their senior year. Especially since kids these days are so addicted. Like my little cousin, she got an iPad when she was like 4. And now if you try to take it away from her, she starts yelling for it back.
Okay. So, do you find it selfish that you're not giving your child a phone before you got a phone because you want them to have the same experiences you did, which is understandable, but at the same time, depending what they do, like with sports and everything, do you think you would adjust that and maybe give it to them a bit earlier because they're doing sports and they're traveling a lot for that with their school?
Depending on what they do, like if they were to be on a soccer team and traveled a lot, or I don't know, some kind of school event, then I would maybe just give them my phone or figure something out.
Okay. Do you think a better result and a thing that I think our generation should be doing is when our kids are old enough giving them flip phones?
That would be a smart thing, except for the fact that I'm pretty sure by the time our generation has kids and they grow up, flip phones are going to be obsolete, non existent.
Okay. Why do you think they're going to be non existent?
With the fact that they're releasing a new iPhone every 6 months, I'm pretty sure even the one I have right now, which is the 12, will become at least like old data or old tech, I mean.
Okay. So, a lot of convenience stores in certain areas do sell flip phones and burner phones off the rack, and you can just purchase them there with the SIM card already in them and everything. Do you think those will still be in function where they're in separate packages and you could just grab one and buy one and give it to your child?
To be honest, it's like I said, with the way that everything's moving, they might. By the time that our kids have grown up in the stores, instead of flip phones and burner phones, they probably have iPhone 6s, stuff like that. Cheap old phones, you know?
Mm-hmm. Having like iPhone 6s and everything, with every new phone coming out, those phones have been destroying themselves and self-destructing because of all the new data coming up. And it's known that older phones like that have tended to explode just because of how old the phones are, and if they get overheated easily with all the things that we load onto them, there's a high chance that they can be dangerous. Would you still give your child that exposure to that danger?
Depending on how I see it, because most of the time when they do overload, it's because people try putting new software on old tech, and that causes things to overheat, malfunction, and they're not used the way they're intended to. Like, I couldn't run a 4K movie on a DVD player from like the 1980. I couldn't do that. It would probably just break. So if I would give it to them, I'd make sure they knew not to run new tech on it, or else it would probably blow up, like you said.
So, knowing that you got your phone at 14, do you think it was a struggle going through like middle school and everything like that before you got your phone until you got it because everyone else had a phone? Or do you feel like it was a good experience because you understood that having a phone doesn't mean you have to be addicted to it? Having a phone is freeing for you. Do you agree with that statement, or do you think that getting that phone earlier would have been better because it was easier for you to fit in at that age?
To be honest, I didn't really do much during my middle school years. I kind of just stayed at home. And then I lived out in the country, so I didn't really have a reason to contact people because, one, I couldn't drive, and two, my parents couldn't really take me that much. So I myself didn't find that much use for a phone in my younger years. But when I finally got into high school, started doing sports and all these things that I currently do, at that point I needed a phone because I needed a sure way to contact my parents.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay. So, knowing your opinion on when you think your kid should get a phone, if your spouse in the future disagrees with that statement and thinks that they should get a phone earlier or even later in life, what would you tell them? Would you agree with them and say, okay, let's find a compromise? Or would you just say, I'm set in my ways. I want this. I want my kid to have a phone at this age, this time. This is what I want.
I feel like I'd stand my ground because I have really good reasons for why, especially since I know what it's like and I know I didn't really suffer that much because, I don't know, I was a kid, I found things to do. Like, I feel like once you're in high school, then you need some form of contact because then it's when you start making lifelong friends and lifelong bonds and things like that. But if you give them a phone earlier in life, it's just going to be a tool for them to get addicted to.
Okay. So, what if your partner in the future stands firm on her point?
Well, then I'll stand on my point until she shows no signs of backing down, and then if there's genuinely no way to avoid an argument, or if there's no solution to she wants it this way, I want it that way, I'll find some sort of compromise.
Okay. So, knowing that, let's say your partner in the future wants your future child to have a phone at, let's say, 18, right? When they're an adult, they can get their own phone. And you say 14. if you guys are both firm on your point, what age would you firmly agree on getting a phone?
Depending on what they do, like I said, there's a lot of variables that can affect the necessity for a phone. Like if they're just at home all day after school, there'd be really no point of getting them a phone. But if they were active in their community or in their school activities, then there would be more of a purpose. But I feel like if she was set at 18 and I was set at 14, maybe middle compromise would be good.
Okay. Do you find any other issues with Gen Z?
They idolize people too much. In the sense of, if a person has a lot of followers, all of a sudden they mean something. And if one person does something that a lot of people find funny, they try to replicate it as much as possible. And these days, there's so many celebrities that are idolized as being the best of all time and things like that.
Do you think that idolization is altering how we think about ourselves?
I feel like it is, because at the same time, the way that those people got famous, they were just normal people that one day had talent. Nowadays, nobody cares about new and upcoming artists. Nobody cares about new actors. They just want to see who's been established and who's been popular for a long time.
So, piggybacking off of what you said talent. You believe that those social media influencers have talent because they have followers?
I do not. Most social media influencers are just idiots that copy other people's ideas. Most of them are half sane, and then the other half touches kids.
Okay. That's an interesting point. Okay. So, knowing that, do you think in the future, if you were ever to get all those followers, all that attention, and you were getting popular, do you feel as though that would alter how you treat other people and how you feel about yourself because you have all those followers?
I don't believe so, due to the fact that the one thing that I truly dislike about social media influencers is that once they start gaining ground, they act like they're so much better than everyone else. I myself have been a humble person most of my life, and I really don't feel like I'm better than someone unless I have valid reasoning to think so.
Okay. I like those viewpoints. Okay, I think that's a good place to end. Thank you. This is exploring the generational thoughts. This was the Gen Z position.